This is Ann Hebner. This was my week 7 post, and I'm excited to kind of decompress a little bit of what we've been covering and how my overall design process has changed. So, kind of just an overall reflection. Um, as some of you have been following my post throughout the week, I feel like I have kind of come full circle, and in many ways the way that Jessica has designed this course, seemed really reflective of how my design process kind of came about and what I was in many ways aiming to do, to have something that my attendees of my class worked through on their own, and left with something that they started with and needed improvement, and that seems very much of what I've done. So I would say overall that is my general reflection. How has my design progressed? I would say there's so many key factors that I will take initially into account as I design. Accessibility was a big one. UDL, I think, is a big factor of what I'll be taking away and having as my baseline structure for my design process. The concept of the elephant and the rider, I really loved that chapter of reading, and that to me resonated very strongly and offered me some really key points of how to focus my design, and in many ways even just the evaluation of my success of the lesson, instead of focusing it on what I was able to cover, on what my attendee, what my student was able to really have as a long-term memory takeaway. So I think some of my goals just as a whole really changed. In terms of the different methods and tools that I will take away, and I briefly covered this, but just the UDL, I think, is a concept that in some ways was really new to me, and just defining that, and making sure that experience really was as rich as it could be. So many planning things, the simple exercise that we did with the bathtub and the bubbles, and all these little things that once you really start to think about them are very distracting. And so just trying to minimize those, trying to have the flow of the lesson and all of these kind of outside factors considered and thought through, I think shows the learner how much you value the lesson, how much you value them and their time. And so I would say overall those are some big aspects of what I'm going to take away, and what I think are going to stick with me as methods in terms of designing this, and also just how I kind of analyze the learner, really thinking through what limitations, what constraints they might have, as well as what challenges, and how to push them further. So just that whole concept was really putting yourself in the user's shoes and trying to work through the lesson. So I would say as a whole, those are some of my big reflecting points, and just the visualizations. I really loved this text. I loved the visuals that it provided. To me, those were things that I just, I really think through as I think about the concepts. I think about the illustrations from the different pages of the book. So I definitely think those are going to be some things that I will continue to carry with me and use throughout my future planning.